Pod Jak'd episode. I don't know what it is right now. I think it could be 16, 17. I don't even know. I'm not even going to check right now. But this episode is going to be called The Ugly Truth. And it's going to be all over the place. And I wish that I could do this as a seminar. Like, you know how you see, some of you guys know Area 51? I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a bunch of pickup artists giving speeches and stuff, trying to inspire guys to sign up for their stuff. I wish I could give seminars to try to wake guys up, especially last night. Last night I was at a salsa bar for the first time in about, I would say 7 months, because I don't like paying covers for bars, especially nowadays. I don't approach anymore, so I'm like, what am I paying for? Last night I got lucky. I got there early, so I didn't have to pay the cover, which is awesome. And I saw this short Indian guy. And, you know, he wasn't bad looking. And he was drunk, like super drunk. You could tell he had like 4 or 5 beers. He was hammered. And he was going around the bar, and he was approaching some girls. It was cool. He tried to dance with them. And he approached a really hot white chick. Now, I give him props for this because it's really hard. You don't see a lot of guys approaching hot chicks. And there was like these 2 blonde chicks. They were both good looking. They were both like 7s and 8s. He actually went up, tapped him on the shoulder. She turned around and looked at him and gave the, like, you know, get the hell out of my face, and turned back around. But I give him props for trying. But if that guy saw a black pill documentary like LMS or something, Face LMS, he might kill himself, because that stuff is depressing. But when I say the ugly truth, what does that mean? I feel like this episode's, by the way, is not just going to be about pickup and black pill and stuff. It's going to be about a lot of other things. It's going to be about, you know, friendship. It's going to be about race. It's going to be about women. It's going to be about a lot of things, because it takes you a long time. It took me a long time to realize that most people, they just don't want to hear the fucking truth. And most of us don't want to hear the truth. We don't want to hear that we're not good enough. We don't want to hear that it's over. And it may not be, once again, over, in a sense that if you're willing to settle for the drags, you know, not drag queens, but, you know, if you're willing to settle for a woman who's very low quality, then yeah, you can get yourself a woman, sure. If you're willing to settle for just any woman who will fuck you, regardless of how disgusted she is, or how ghetto she is, or how low self-esteem she is, or how, you know, then yeah, you can get yourself a woman. It's not over, but it takes a long time to realize that, even if you don't agree with me, and I know a lot of you don't, I'm glad you disagree with me, because as I said, we all come from different walks of life. We all, you know, grow up differently. I was raised differently than you, and you were raised differently than me. So we're never going to see eye to eye, and that's fine, and that's cool. We could disagree, and we could argue all day. That's fine. I don't mind if people disagree with me. But it's just a matter of the ugly truth about people in general, and I'm pretty sure some of you have figured this out. It's all about value. Now, value, I use this term, and a buddy of mine who cringes at the MGTOW stuff, I've done some podcasts with him. He's a funny guy. The funny thing is, I consider him actually a MGTOW guy, even though he hates that term, because he's in his late 30s, and he's still in debt, and he has a car. He's like a smart, funny guy, and he's a little shorter than maybe the standard of women. He's like 5'7". You know, he's not too short. He's like average height. But he agrees with some of the stuff I say about how dating profiles, you know, girls will say you got to be over 6 feet tall and all that stuff. All the stuff I talked about, he actually agrees, but he thinks MGTOW is cringe. Which is like, okay, fine, because he thinks that we're all like me, like a bunch of raging maniacs. And I told him there's like guys who are calm about this stuff. Not everybody's angry, but there are guys who, of course, are angry. But the absolute truth about people in general, even when it comes to friendship, and I did an episode about this, about friendship, even that, it takes you years to realize it's all about value, man. And value is a cringy pickup term. That's why I was going to bring that up. Value, he cringes at that too. But I told him, I said, look, you can laugh at it, but it's the absolute truth. It's value. If you're like me, you don't have much going on. Yeah, you can be the nicest person in the world, like I said. You can be the most loyal person in the world. It doesn't matter. Not to say I am the nicest or loyalist person in the world. It doesn't fucking matter. What can you do for me? It's a cold, hard world sometimes. What can you do? What's in it for me? Why should I hang out with you? Why should I be your friend? What can you do for me? You know, do you have weed? Do you have alcohol? Do you have chicks you can hook me up with? Do you have a car? What's in it for me? And girls, of course, are no different. They think to themselves, what's in it for me? Why? I already have a guy fix my computer. I already have a guy pick me up at the airport at 3 in the morning. I already have a guy listen to my problems. I already have a guy fix stuff for me. What's in it for me? It's just the way the fucking world is. Now, I don't want to bring up race too much because, this is not a race channel. I know people. I've even been accused of this channel. The video I put up that's very controversial, and I have a few of them, of course, was the one when I'm in the basketball court, and I said, in my city, and this is based on what I see, white girls are way nicer than black guys than other races of men. It's just something I observed. Well, once again, I'm not only in the white girls. I, of course, started out approaching only white girls because everywhere I went, that's all there was. And then the last few years of my PUA journey that was over, I approached more black, more Hispanic, and more Asian women. And when I fell with them, I realized women in general just don't like me. I mean, forget about race. I mean, they just don't like me. They're not attracted to me. I have nothing to offer them. I'm not sex worthy, whatever that is. I mean, you know what that is. And I just don't have it in me to get these chicks. There's nothing. I'm just an average guy or below average looking guy with nothing to offer. They can get that from anywhere. But in that video, I once again, I was raised differently. I was raised when I was a kid, all my friends were black because I lived in a black area until I was 14 years old. And, of course, my viewpoints changed because it affects comedy. And anybody who knows me knows that I love doing comedy. I do the raunchy, X-rated comedy. And, of course, that's going to affect it because, you have to be woke. You have to be very liberal. Hate speech. You don't make fun of any other race that's not yours. Don't make fun of this. Don't be transphobic. Don't be gayphobic. Blah, 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 homophobic. All this other stuff. And that affects comedy. And anything that affects comedy, I have a problem with. But in that video, even, when it comes to race, people don't want to hear it. Like, I've had a few people, and I will say that most of them were black. And I would rather hear it from a black person than hear it from a white person. Because even with comedy, like, when I say certain naughty words on stage, and one of the words that I say starts with an N. You folks know what I'm talking about. And I have jokes with that word in it, and I'll say it, and, I've had black comics be offended, but usually none of them say nothing to me. Only, like, one black comic ever said something on stage, like, that's not cool and stuff. But usually it's the white comics who get the most offended. Usually it's them who, they'll walk out the room, they're going, oh my God, man, oh, that's terrible, I'm going to walk out and stuff. And it's like, look, it's just, a joke once again. But regardless of that, once again, this is going to be all over the place. This is not well put together. But people, when I talk about race, and I'd say things about black people. Oh, people say, I've been accused many times of saying, "Oh, you talk really poorly about black people." But I say, first of all, it's what I observe. I live in a city once again it's 50% black. Philly is pretty much 50%. It's like 48%, but it's really like 50% black. And then with all the mix, a lot of swirling in my city, mostly not with, of course, white guys and black girls. It's mostly black guys with white girls. There's a lot of there's a lot of mixed kids. So it's really an urban city. It's a very liberal, douchey urban city. And when I talk about it, I observe what I see. I have people say, "Oh man, you talk poorly about black people and stuff, and that shit's not cool." And I go, "Well, look, I'm talking about what I'm seeing. You just don't want to hear the truth. I understand the truth hurts, but I'm not just saying it just to be outrageous. I'm telling you what I see." So, just like the video. I don't know if you guys remember when I was telling a story about the woman with the pit bull, the black woman. It wasn't a pit bull; it was a big dog that was scratching me through my clothes. And once again, I started talking about her, and I think someone in the video said, "Oh man, you always gotta say, you say the most messed up things about black people." I go, "So you're saying that someone's dog scratching me is okay, but me talking about it and being honest about it, even if I'm using race, is more messed up than that?" It's like if I'm walking down the street and a black person punches me in the head and I start screaming out racial epithets, that's worse than the person punching me in the head. You see what I'm saying? Because people are so easy to just go to that. It's like, look, if you want to call me a racist, I don't care. I really don't, because I call it the way I see it. I go, I don't give a fuck. I'm racist. I'm sexist. I hate everything and everybody. I don't give a fuck. Unsubscribe. But I call it the way I see it. The way I talk about women, it's the same way I talk about race. It's the same way I talk about everything. I call it the way I see it. It's my world and it's my perspective. And if it is offensive to you, well, then you shouldn't be on this channel. You shouldn't listen to it. You just don't want to hear the truth. So I don't want to keep talking about race once again, because this isn't about, race. But even a part of that, it's the ugly truth. Some people don't want to hear that. They're saying you're talking poorly about black people. So if I talk about a situation that happened to me, and I'm talking about frustrations that stuff black people do. Oh yeah, how are we ever going to move forward? Just like the video I put out when I go, men and women are never going to move forward. How can we ever move forward if we can't talk about this? You can't talk about the white and black people. Only black people talk about white people and not the opposite. How can we move forward? Same thing with men and women. Women can talk about men, but if we talk about women, oh, you're so sexist. Oh, you hate women. Oh, you're a piece of... How can we move forward if nobody can hear the truth? And now we live in such a just pussy, I'm offended by everything bias. How can we ever move forward when it comes to everything? When it comes to race? When it comes to gender? That's why we're so divided, because we can't talk about this. Because if you talk about it, then everyone's offended, and everyone is going to, everyone acts like the world's going to explode. And that's not the fucking case. Because when I grew up in the 90s, racial tension was at its highest. We had, the fucking O.J. Simpson trial. Of course, that made black and white people more divided. Then we had, like, black movies coming out, like, Higher Learned and, all those black films and such that showed, like, white people treated black people like shit and stuff. And, we had a lot of shit going on, and other things. And it's like, it was racial tension was at its highest, and bad things did happen. Black people were going out, and not all of them, but some of them rioted and mugging and such. Just random white people and stuff. A lot of bad things came from that. But even so, the world didn't explode, is what I'm trying to say. And everyone acts like if we talk about this, the world is going to explode. After all we've been through in society, the world's going to fucking explode if men and women talk about it and black and white people talk about it. And this is why I don't have any friends, because even when you're friends with people, I realize one thing about friendship is if you tell people honestly how you feel once again, then everyone's like, oh man, you're so sensitive, man. Oh, you're being a bitch, man. Oh man. It's like, so you can treat me whatever way you want, and I can't say anything about it. I can't say anything about it. If I say something about it, then, I'm a pussy, I'm a bitch, I react too much. So that gives you the right to just treat whatever way you want. So that's how it is. Because, people ignore, once again, they ignore my phone calls, they only want to hang out with certain, and then when you say that, wow, man, what's wrong with you? It's almost like they're saying, hey, man, why are you calling me out on my bad friendship behavior? Why are you calling me out for being a bad friend? What's the matter with you? What are you, crazy? You can't do that. You can't call me out for being a bad friend. So this is the fucking world we live in, and we all know if you want to make the most amount of friends, you got to be phony. You got to adjust your personality to theirs, and you got to be their fucking bitch. And same thing with women. You have to pretty much say, hey, what can I do for you? What can I do? But give me your giant checklist, and I'll do all that, so a couple months later I can find out your pussy stinks. Let's do that. I'll be your bitch. What do you want? What can I do? What can I start doing for you now? Let's start the checklist. Let's start the task, the fucking goals of what you want. And then when you don't do that, well, then people don't like it. Even when I go to a bar, like I said, and I always use the picture example, and somebody asks me, hey, can you take a picture of me and my friends? And I say no. Usually women. It's 98% women. They get mad. Oh, what's the matter with you? What's your problem? Oh my God, you're an asshole. I go, wow, I'm an asshole. You know me, huh? Wow. Because I didn't do something for you. What are you going to do for me? What's in it for me? You girls always want me to do something for you. I don't ask you for anything. I don't try to fuck any of you anymore. It's been years because of that. I don't even talk to you. What's in it for me? You want to play that game? Let's all play it. What's in it for me? That's just how it is. It's the ugly truth. Nobody wants to hear it. So we're never going to move forward. Things aren't going to get better. And I have a problem with all this stuff because, as I said, it's affected comedy. And it's affected the kind of comedy that I want. Not to say that if it did it, I would be big right now. Because, of course, I already know I'm never going to make it. But I still have fun doing it. I still have fun creating content. I still have fun going on stage. Just, being a maniac and just saying outrageous things and triggering people. It's fun. It really is. It's a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun. But aside from that, people just don't want to hear the truth. And that's why they don't like Trump. I mean, once again, I don't want to make this political because I know some of you is going to cringe. But it's so easy to just go after Trump. Nobody said shit about Obama. Did anybody notice that? Nobody said shit about Obama. I didn't hear anything about him for like 8 years. There was only maybe a few people that maybe called him out on stuff. I'm like, this guy wasn't a perfect president. He was fucking trying to take away guns, but he had armed guards on his daughters when he went to school, so he didn't care about your kids. And then on top of that, he'd fined me for not having health insurance. So I got fined $300 and something back in, I think, 2014 or 15. It's like, how am I affecting anybody by not having health insurance? So to me, he's the worst president of all time because it affected me personally. I go by what affects me. No other president I got fined for not having health insurance. But once again, not to keep talking about politics because I'm not a political person. The only reason why I have a problem with this whole Trump thing is because it's so easy to call him out. It's so easy for all these phony white people to call him out and go, oh, fuck this guy. He's a racist. He talks down to people. You just don't want to hear the truth. There is a truth that some immigrants who come in, forget about if they're taking jobs out. They're not all nice people. Everyone acts like they're just nice people. Yeah, some of them are. Some of them are nice people, but some of them who do come in are either, doing bad things and they're doing rapes and stuff. And I make rape jokes because, once again, to be outrageous. But, listen, once again, I know the politics stuff's going to turn you off and I'm not trying to get into it. But that's the reason a lot of people don't want it. They don't want to hear the truth. And I'm not going to say Trump isn't a bullshit artist or he's not hiding anything or anything. I'm just saying that some of the stuff he says is true, like about the media. He's absolutely fucking right. He's absolutely right in how they twist things. You don't hear anything. Like, this was brought up on a show called Opie and Anthony many years ago. And some of you might know that show. It was kind of like the Howard Stern show, except two guys. And, one of them, Anthony Cumia, some of you know, I would say he's like a far right guy. He's considered a racist because, he's outspoken and stuff, like a Nick DiPaolo or whatever. But they would talk about this all the time. Like, if a black person kills a white person, you don't even hear about it. They put it all the way in the back of the paper, so you don't even hear about it. But if any kind of news regarding a white person being racist or a white person killing a black person or anything, it's right on front page so the whole world can see. But when it's the other way around, they don't even report on it. So some of this stuff you guys aren't going to hear. You're going to say, oh, don't talk about race, man. Don't talk about politics. But once again, that's because, it's the ugly truth. You don't want to hear about it. Of course you don't. Nobody wants to hear the truth. Why would you want to hear what's going to reveal about yourself and hurt you? Of course. But we can't move forward is my whole fucking point. So I talk about what I talk about, and if you don't like it, it's like, well, don't listen. There's a million other things to listen to. Don't listen to me, man. You know how you walk down the street? Well, in my city, I think every city's like this, and they have those guys with the megaphones. They're called, I think, Black Israelites, and they're shouting shit and everything. I've seen white people just stand there and argue with them. I go, why are you wasting your day? Why are you wasting your time? Don't you have something else? Especially if it's a nice day. Don't you have stuff to do? Why would you sit there and argue with this guy? He's clearly trying to trigger you. He's clearly angry about something. And you're just feeding the trolls. You never hear the expression, don't feed the trolls? You're just feeding the trolls. Don't listen to this guy. You know what I do? I walk right by. I don't care what he says. Unless he says something to me, I don't care. He can say white devil. He can say white people are bad. White people are slavery. Say whatever the hell you want. Go yell it out. Once again, how is that not hate speech? This is the problem I have with the term hate speech. YouTube, as some of you know, are cracking down. For those who have a channel, they're now making you comply whether you have your channel is for kids or not. Either there's three options: either yes, no, or you have to put age restriction for individual videos of your choosing. But even this term hate speech, it's a term that libtards made up. It doesn't exist. It's like the term politically correct. It exists, but it's not really something. It's just something someone made up, and there's truth to that. But even the term hate speech, if you don't like what I have to say right now, this is considered hate speech. When did we get to that point? What happened to freedom of speech? What happened to it? And, think about all the people who died in wars so we could have free speech. They're probably in heaven right now looking down going, what the fuck did we do this for? Why the fuck did we go to war, and why the fuck did we kill ourselves? So everyone can get offended by everything, and now people can get fined and arrested for hate speech. But once again, it's okay if a black guy stands with a microphone and says, "Oh, the white devil," but if me or anybody else did that, other way around, that if somebody calls the cops and say, "Hey, this guy is shouting out hate speech," they would arrest you right there. So if hate speech is not going to be all or nothing, then how can we move forward once again? So it only applies this way, but it doesn't apply that way. So I'm an all or nothing person. Either rules apply for everybody, or they don't apply at all. And it's the same thing with comedy. Only black people, even the term N-word, only black people could say it, but Hispanic people could say it. I always said, well, why can Hispanic people say it? Why? Oh, well, they identify with black people. Well, what about a white guy who acts black? A white guy who acts black, he identifies with black people. Yeah, but that's different, though. He shouldn't say it. What about Asian people? Well, I don't think Asian people should say it. Why? Well, because they're from a... So once again, all these rules, who can say it, who can't say it. Some black people say that all white people shouldn't say it. Then you have a few who say they can. All these rules, we're all confused. We're never going to be on the same page because nothing is all or nothing. These are just terms people are making up. These are just, no one wants to hear the ugly truth, so we can't talk about this stuff openly. Once again, women can call out men, black people call out white people, but it's the other way around, then you're going to get accused of being a racist or the sexist and everything, get fired from your job, have everybody look at you like you're the town racist, you're the town. I don't give a fuck. I don't let that shit bother me at all. Like, you think I give a fuck if you call me a racist? Like, you think I give a fuck if you call me? Go ahead. I'll admit it. I say, yeah, sure, I'm sexist and racist. I don't care. I hate everything and everybody. But I'm just so fucking sick and tired of just everybody. I don't try to force people to think like me. I don't care if you want to be the opposite or you want to be. That's fine. I don't care. I really don't. I don't shove this down people's throat and go, you have to hate women or you have to say, certain words to be edgy or funny. It's like, do what you want. But I don't try to do what other people try to do and go, no, we need to make new rules and this should be for kids. And we have to make new rules and you cannot be a white person and say this about black people and you cannot be a man and talk about women this way. And it's like, I'm all for freedom of speech. I don't have to like it. Whatever happened, I used to be, you don't have to like it, but you can say it. And now it's changing. Now everything's like, you can't say it. You're going to get fired. Everyone's going to call you a racist. You can even get, the whole thing, fucking chastised for it. It's just getting ridiculous and we're never going to move forward. And I just stick to what I do. You might ask yourself, what can we do? Not as MGTOW. Forget about MGTOW for a second. What can we do to kind of move forward? And the best advice I can give you is to always stick to your guns. Now, of course, you don't want to do this at work because, of course, you get fired. And you can't do it certain places because you might get beat up, But you have to, you always have to cover your ass and be smart. But for the most part, I stick to my guns, especially with comedy. Like in my comedy scene, it's a very liberal douchebag comedy scene once again. And the comedians who are in the city, the comics who are the main people and stuff, they don't like me because I go against the grain. They play by the rules like, oh, don't make fun of any other race that's yours. Don't say the word cunt. Don't do any rape jokes. And I do all that stuff because I grew up in that kind of comedy. And that's the kind of comedy that I want to do. So they don't like that. So the best advice I can tell you is if it's not going to get you in trouble, be smart, cover your ass. But you always stick to your guns. You always stick to your guns. If you want to speak openly about something, as long as it's not going to get you in trouble, get you hurt, do it. Say it. Let the truth be free. say it. Because it's like, don't let other people fucking bully you with this whole woke bullshit. Be like, oh, I'm woke now, and everyone wants to brag about that, when it should be freedom of speech. It should be, I should have the right to say this. You don't have to like it. You can hate it. You can say, oh, you really pissed me off. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Fine. But you should have the right to say it. And Facebook, I got rid of that shit years ago. 2 years ago or so. The only reason why I was on Facebook, because, I wanted to know where comedy shows are at. Because I started doing comedy back in 2009. So I got on Facebook. And then when Trump became president, even people that I knew were funny, even professional comics, just stopped being funny. They just went on and said, Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump backs up the Ku Klux Klan. Donald Trump's a bad guy. He's a dick. And it's like, where's the jokes? Look, if you hate Trump, fine. Can you make it fun? Can you make some jokes? Can you make it easy going again? Everyone has decided to stop being funny. Even if you hate the guy, it's like, can you at least be funny? Can you at least have a good sense of humor about it? So it was a combination of that. And then here's the kicker. I only had people on my Facebook from my comedy scene. And from my comedy scene, it's a little comedy scene. The place I go to on Wednesday nights where I go crazy and I say what I want. Once again, I'm very raunchy, very X-rated. And even comics from my comedy scene would tell me, hey man, that Facebook status you posted was really funny, but I didn't want to like it. And I said, why not? And they said, well, I didn't want my friends to see that I liked that. So people are so paranoid. They think if they like one of my statuses, some girl they fucked 10 years ago is going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you actually like that guy's status. That's it. We're not friends anymore. Or your friends from high school or your coworkers or something. So I go, that's crazy. You're just liking something. But people are so paranoid these day and age, they're afraid to even like something. They're afraid to even click a like button because they're like, I'm going to get chastised for this. I'm going to get reprimanded for this. So I don't want people to know that I'm liking your status over a joke. I'm making a fucking stupid, raunchy joke that only affects people who have a sick mind like me. And people are like, I don't want people to know that. So I go, I got to get off this Facebook thing. They've done studies, and I believe this is true. Facebook actually makes you depressed. Not everybody. But, if you're on Facebook, let's say there's someone you don't like. Let's say they're doing really well. Let's say they just got married or something, or they just got a new raise or a new car or a new house. You're gonna get depressed. You're like, I fucking hate that guy. He's got a new house. I fucking can't stand this bitch. And she went to fucking Mexico for 3 days on a good time. Anybody you don't like is going to make you depressed. So Facebook makes you depressed, and it was making me depressed. I was like, I can't be myself on Facebook. I have people trying to tell me, I would like your stuff, but I can't. I'm not getting on comedy shows anymore because all the comedy shows are all about being woke and liberal now, and I'm going the total opposite direction. And on top of that, some of the comedians I've known for almost a decade won't back me. They're afraid, and they don't get on shows either. And they're not going to back me because they're afraid that, like we're in show business. We're losers. We're open mic comics. Nobody knows who we are. And they're afraid. So I can go on and on, but you guys get the gist of it. And I actually wasn't even going to put up an episode this week. I had this idea since last week. But I got the house to myself right now. And I decided, hey, why not get some stuff off the old chest? That's actually really lame. Get some stuff off the old chest. What the fuck? I gotta use that on my act. That was so bad. It was kind of funny, but you know what I mean. I gotta get some stuff out the system or whatever. I gotta get it out like a shit. But anyways, thank you guys for listening, and as always, I look forward to any feedback you have. And the show keeps going. I keep thinking every week I'm running out of stuff, and then I just start talking, and the truth will set you free. It just all comes out. Remember, the more truth you speak, the more you're going to face consequences. But you're going to feel better, and you're going to get a lot out. So be careful, because the truth is a weapon.